How's it going, ladies and gentlemen? Data here, and welcome back to the Pittsburgh Penguins franchise mode, episode number 14, headed into year number 4, the 2026-27 regular season. Through our first 3 years with the Penguins, we had a first-round exit, a Stanley Cup final exit, and finally, in year number 3, a Stanley Cup championship. Over this championship offseason in 2026, Chris Letang and Phil Kessel both retired, leaving us still with 2 of the 3 of the core that we came in to win with. Sidney Crosby at 39 years of age and Evgeny Malkin at 40 years of age. Over the offseason, we didn't do too much to the forward core, but on defense, we did correct the timeline and bring in Erik Karlsson to replace Chris Letang. Aaron Ekblad slots up to the first pair to play with Josh Morrissey, but Karlsson can now play top 4 minutes, restoring the timeline of him being in Pittsburgh. Last season with San Jose, he still put up great numbers, 61 assists and 68 points on a bad Sharks team. So hopefully, as in the real world, the hope in the real world is now that he's surrounded by a better supporting cast, he'll be able to not only maintain those numbers, but maybe get even better numbers. On top of that, he only has 1 year left at $11.5 million, so we had the money to do it. We still have a great amount of cap space, about $8 million, so we are just fine headed into the next few years when our prospects will need contracts. So we'll start Karlsson out on the second pair with Nikita Zadorov. Third pair will be Ty Smith, who has finally grown from an 80 overall now to an 81. And he'll play with Owen Pickering, who we're hoping will make the NHL. There's a +2 on that third pair. He's a 79 with it, so fingers crossed. Between the pipes to start this season, we have Mackenzie Blackwood coming off of a Conn Smythe runner-up and a season removed from winning the Vezina and the Jennings. He will start with I keep saying Jesper, Joel Blomqvist backing him up, both 84 overalls, and we also have some good options for the healthy scratches. But all that to say, our top line is still the same with a +5. Second line, we'll try Catton, Crosby, and Malkin. Now at 40 years of age, he may need to move into the bottom 6. The third line will be Brian Rust at 34 years of age with Isaac Lundstrom and Braden DiMaio, our first generated prospect to crack the full-time lineup. Hopefully he'll stay in it. So Braden DiMaio, 19 years of age, is an 80 overall, 9th overall pick in 2025. 4.5-star shooting. He is listed as a 4th line forward, so we'll see how he does on the third line. And the fourth will be Eric Robinson, new addition in the offseason, with Nate Smith and Jason Zucker. You may be saying, where is Braden Yeager? Before we even get into the comments, the vast majority of the comments saying, you know what, Braden Yeager had a great season last year in the AHL. He won some awards. He had 69 points in 72 games in his first AHL season. We won the Calder Cup, and he went point per game, 26 points in 26 games. That's all great. But at the end of the day, in EA land, it all comes down to player development according to overall and role. If I put a 76 overall on the 4th line to get 7 minutes per night, it's not going to be as good for his development as playing first-line minutes down here in the AHL. So he's got some good line mates. We brought in Logan Stankoven. We have Radoslav Bartosak. Cannon Lind is also a player who's growing. He's up to a 75. We have Yanni Petrel, who was a former second-round pick in 2024. He's in the AHL system. So that's just a little recap on who we have and who we're really keeping tabs on in the AHL. On defense, we're keeping a tab on Walter Lashoff, second-round pick in 2024 as well. And between the pipes, you still have Taylor Gauthier and the legend himself, Philip Lindbergh. So not too much in the prospect pool in the AHL. Most of our higher-end prospects are still unsigned, but that is how we're looking as an organization headed into our 4th season. Not a ton to say from the assistant general managers, aside from a resounding no to Yeager playing in the NHL and a few trade block suggestions, but let's go over some of those headed into our 4th season. So starting off with Aqua, who left a comment saying, love the video and commentary. You kept it interesting the whole video. Well, thank you, Aqua. I feel like you should put Phil's number in the rafters. He was a legend for the Penguins, winning all 3 cups with us. He definitely deserves his number in the rafters with the Penguins. I have no comments on the new, fresh team. I trust what you're doing and know we will win another cup sooner rather than later. Thanks again, Aqua. So what Aqua's referring to is now that Letang has retired, number 58 definitely has to go to the rafters, the greatest Penguins defenseman in franchise history. But does Phil Kessel's number 81 also make it to the rafters? I believe we will be retiring Kessel's number 81. 3 cups with the team and pretty like instrumental efforts in each of those Stanley Cup runs. So we'll find a couple nights on the calendar later on to do Letang retirement night and Kessel retirement night. Next comment coming from Pat, who says great stuff as always, Data. Thank you, Pat. I would definitely plan to use DiMaio as the next man up on the second line. Potentially, I would think of swapping him and Malkin. Want to give him the best possible chance at NHL success. He will be here in 2 seasons. Malkin likely won't. 2 players on the block I would consider right now would be Zach Hyman and Ryan Graves as the possible deadline moves if they're still on the block. My love of Hyman is well documented, but his low-ish trade value at an 87 overall and 5.5 AAV would make an ideal top 6 contributor. Graves, who is a top 4 defensive defenseman, is on an expiring deal and could be an upgrade to the top 4D. Looking forward to the next one. Thank you, Pat. I think those 2 suggestions are great, of course, depending on what our needs will be by the deadline, but I did take a look at the Oilers especially, and they would love to free up some of the money from Zach Hyman. So if it fits our needs, I'm sure the Oilers would love to make a deal with us. Now, swapping Malkin and DiMaio is probably the long-term fit. It doesn't change the chemistry of the top 6 or 9, as it still stays +5, +2 on the second and third line. So I'm not opposed to that move whatsoever. The only thing is, he's a rookie. Let's start off the season. He's already listed as a 4th-line forward who's playing on the 3rd line. Let's give him 20 games, 25 games, and go from there before we just start him in the top 6 right away. Crosby and Malkin, they are tried and true. Let's see if Malkin truly is slowing down before we bump him to the 3rd. And you know what? It's going to be a fluid situation throughout the season. Speaking of deadline acquisitions, Kyle also leaves a suggestion. How about Dylan Dubé over on the Calgary Flames? He might be a sneaky good pickup. Cheap and a good overall, he's 85, with low trade value. Low risk, high reward. Again, comes down to our situation and Calgary's situation, but very good to have high overall names on the back burner. So thanks for that, Kyle. Most of the rest of the comments essentially saying, yes, get Zucker in the lineup. Let's move Jaeger down to the AHL. A few thoughts about the prospects that we drafted, especially a comment here from Walter. Walter's favorite player, Walter Lashoff, now has his cousin Jay Lashoff in the organization. I forgot to make mention of that, so I apologize very much for that, Walter. It won't happen again. The Lashoff family will not be disrespected by this organization ever again. So that being said, ladies and gentlemen, the scouts have been sent out. The lineup is ready. All the special teams have been done up. I believe that we're ready to head into the preseason, and pretty much the only thing I want to figure out, as per usual, is what's going to happen with the 4th line. So I don't think we're really touching the top 6 or top 9. It just comes down to, of Robinson, Smith, Zucker, Neighbors, and Nord, those 5 players, 3 of them make it, 2 of them don't. Jake Neighbors, who's been in the organization for a couple years now, former 1st-round pick of the St. Louis Blues, he's a 78. And this guy, Noel Nord, we got him in free agency last year, former 2nd-round pick of the Predators in 2023. Both 78 overall, so we have them in the system. And you know what? I might even try Ian Mitchell as well. We got him off waivers. He's an 80 overall. He's definitely capable, so you never know if he can make the lineup. Ian Mitchell got him off waivers, and Isaac Lundstrom got him off waivers, and he's turned into possibly, I hope this season, our full-time 3rd-line center. So that would be a great story right there. But I think that just about does it, so I'll go ahead and simulate all the way to the beginning of the preseason. In this episode, we are simulating the entirety of this year number 4, 2026-27, with the wanting to get as much of the series done as possible for NHL 24 comes out in a few weeks' time. No thank you, Calgary. So with that being the goal, I may not hop into as many slow sims as per usual, as we want to get this season done. It's kind of like 2 one-hour episodes being put into 1 episode, so I'll really try and keep it as short as possible. But at the same time, if stuff comes up, stuff comes up. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. I'm going to go ahead and sim through the preseason, trying a few different permutations of the 4th line and 3rd pair defense, and I'll show you the results once we get to the end. All right, so by the end of the preseason, we ended up going 4-3-0. Not the craziest record, but I think we did have some very good games and some great performances here. Alex DeBrincat scoring 10 points through 7 games. Same for Erik Karlsson. Very good to see that. Draisaitl had 9, Malkin had 8, Rust scored 5 goals and 6 points, Catton also 6 points, Lundstrom 5, Crosby and Morrissey with 4, 3 goals from Gensel. Now we get into the bottom guys here. So DiMaio, in 7 games, I played him 1 or 2 games on the 2nd line just to see. Through those 7 games, he scored 3 points and was a -3, averaging 12-17 of ice time per night. Okay. Ekblad 3. Nord was actually pretty surprising. In 5 games, he scored 2 goals and was a +1. Noel Nord with that 4-star shooting, so he may have played his way onto the 4th line. Zadorov 2 points and a +7. Pickering 2 points in 5 games and an even +-, but he was a +4 through his first 3 games. Then in his last 2 games, he was a -4. So take that as you will. Ty Smith in 7 games, 2 points. Robinson, 1 assist and an even +- through 4 games. Nate Smith, -1 with 1 assist through 7 games. Neighbors in 1 game, didn't really play him too much. 1 game, -1, 1 minor penalty. I really want to see more from Nord and Robinson, so Neighbors didn't get too much ice time. Mitchell in a couple games was a +1. He didn't look bad. And Jason Zucker in 4 games took 3 shots. Did not really do anything there. Goaltending now. Blackwood was superior, going 2-1-0 through 3 starts with a shutout. Blomqvist in 4 starts went 2-2-0, 894 save percentage, allowing 1 more goal on average than Blackwood. So Blackwood, of course, remains our starter, but as per usual, take the preseason with a massive grain of salt. So you know what? I think I will start the season with the 4th line being Robinson, Smith, and Nord. And we'll have Jason Zucker as 13th forward and Neighbors kind of like 14th forward, with Ian Mitchell being our 7th defenseman. As Pickering looked good, then a -4 in his last couple games. Let's see more from him. The top 6 was great. Carlson was amazing. DeBrincat scoring. Russ still seems to be keeping up his scoring pace from last season. 46 points was a bit of a disappointment, as he definitely slowed down in the second half of the season. But he was a +30 and logging less ice time than he's used to with no power play minutes. So you know what? If he can score above 40, maybe close to 50 points as a 3rd liner with no power play, I'm content with him staying there as a 34-year-old. We can't really move him out. He has a full no trade clause. So in a perfect world, yes, we probably have a stronger wing there, but those are the cards that were dealt to us. So that being said, we can go ahead and simulate to the beginning of the regular season, which will be against the Nashville Predators. They went 3-4-0 in the preseason, and we will be hosting them at PPG Paints Arena as we raise our Stanley Cup banner, the 6th in franchise history. We got to go check this game out, of course, starting not only a march back to the Stanley Cup, but we want to march our way back to another President's Trophy. After such a successful 2025-26 campaign, it's time for 2026-27. Year number 4 starts now. First period, 2-0 Predators early. Evangelista on the power play, and then height even strength. Shots 11-7 after 20, and we're down 2-0 with that Stanley Cup banner overhead. Second period, 4-0. Jake Bean and Alex Wenberg. Wow. 4-0 after 40. Shots 21-16, and we have not been able to get through Yaroslav Askarov. Oh, boy. Third period, down by 4 to open up the season here at home. 5-0. Evangelista. Mackenzie Blackwood, who looked so good in the preseason, allows 5 goals on 22 shots. Evgeny Malkin breaks the shutout against his fellow Russian, but we're still down by 4 with under 10 to go. Make it down by 3 as Malkin scores his 2nd. We're needing a big rally late here. Under 5 to go. We're leading in the shots, but it's too little too late, as we'll end this one with a 5-2 loss in regulation. Hats off to the Predators and Askarov there. Great performance. Luca Evangelista, 2 goals and an assist. So tough way to start the season, but we are not going to the calendar just yet, as now it's time to host the Edmonton Oilers at home, the team that eliminated us to win the 2024 Stanley Cup. We will now host them, looking for our first win of the season. Draisaitl against his old team. They're 1-3-0. They're not looking great. So they want to get a win. We want to get a win. High stakes for a couple of old rivals here in Pittsburgh for game number 2 of the season. First period, 1-0 Penguins. There's Isaac Lundstrom opening it up. Shots 12-7, and we're up 1-0 after 20. Second period, 3-0 Penguins. DiMaio scores his first NHL goal, coming in his 2nd NHL game, and Draisaitl scores on his former team to extend our lead to 3. Shots are 19-15 after 40, and we hold a 3-0 lead, but Evan Bouchard cuts it to 2 as he scores early into the 3rd period. But then Ty Smith restores the 3-goal lead. A couple of defensemen scoring there. Power play Penguins killed off. I should show you, by the way, the power play units. Comfort scores shorthanded. Incredible. Down by 2. Down by 1 now. Anders Lee makes it a whole new game. 4-3 Penguins with 6 minutes to go. Shots 32-23 in our favor. It's tight here in the final 2 minutes. Oilers scoring 3 times in this period, but we hang on for the 4-3 victory. That was a close one. Shots end 32-27. Ty Smith with the game winner. Rust had a couple of assists. Isaac Lundstrom with a goal to get 3rd star honors. So, wanted to show you the power play units. Both those units have a +5. And this is how they look if you're curious. Crosby, Draisaitl, Morrissey, Carlson, and DeBrincat on the first unit with the +5. And the second unit, come on, you can do it. Malkin, Gensel, Lundstrom, Ekblad, and Catton. Lundstrom's kind of there as like a tossing him a bone type of thing for him having played so well on the 3rd line, kind of getting relegated to the 4th line, still putting up numbers last year. So I'm going to give him 3rd line and power play 2 to start the year, but I think DeMaio will eventually take that spot, especially if we're seeing that our power play numbers are not high enough. So now that we have our first win of the season under our belts, let's start getting into the calendar simulation. Let's just go into the month of November and see what's going on. I turned auto-rotate goalie back on, so Blomqvist will be getting more starts, which makes sense. He's growing. It's his 3rd season now. Brian Rust, injured shoulder. Fantastic. I think that's keeping him out for like a week or something. So, all right, Zucker will replace him on the 3rd line. And then we'll keep on going. Yeah, it's only a couple games. Let's see if the calendar will tell us anything or if we have to exit it out. Let's see. Nope, it's never going to tell us the results of that Islanders game, huh? And Rust is back. Zucker in 2 games was a -1. Okay, Rust, welcome back to the lineup. And along we go, and we'll never get the results of the Sharks game either unless I stop the simulation. Now magically it shows up. All right, so 4-2 win against the Islanders. Big 7-3 loss against the Senators. We bounce back with a 3-1 win against the Sharks. Let's move into the month of November now. We're going to be playing on the road, against the Devils before hosting the Flyers, then a little Western Conference swing. So in New Jersey against the 2-5-1 Devils, we beat them 5-2. We then shut out the Flyers 4-0 at home. Western Conference swing against the Kings, 6-1 win against the LA Kings. Very nice. Now against the Ducks before heading up to Calgary. 3-1 winning against Anaheim. Let's go to this game against the Leafs because I have something special in mind. And in Calgary facing the Flames, it will be a 3-1 win. Okay. So after, at 7-3 loss, 5-2 loss, after all of that, we're now on a 5-game winning streak and are 8-2-0 through 10 games. And welcome now, ladies and gentlemen, to Pittsburgh for the Phil Kessel jersey retirement against the Toronto Maple Leafs, the team that traded for him from the Bruins, then traded him away. And after he left Toronto, he went on to win 4 Stanley Cups. He was berated by the media and a lot of the Maple Leafs fans. If you weren't one of them, I don't blame you. But a lot of them were not treating Kessel very well. And now he comes back to Pittsburgh to have his number 58 raised up to his number 81 raised up to the rafters in front of the Toronto Maple Leafs. First period, 1-0 Penguins. DeBrincat opens it up. Come on, let's do it for Phil tonight. Second period, 3-1. Batherson scores early. Then Morrissey and DeMaio give us a 2-goal lead. We're being outshot 20-16, but we are up by 2 here in the third period. Make it up by 3 as Alex DeBrincat scores his 2nd of this game. Do it for Phil. Come on, number 81, looking down on us and with its 3 Stanley Cups. Jake Gensel on the power play. We had a 5-on-3 there. We only score on the 5-on-3, not on the 5-on-4, but I'll take 1 power play goal. No problem. Final 5 minutes of this one, sticking it to the Leafs. Phil Kessel eating it up figuratively and literally in the press box. 5-1 Penguins, the final on Phil Kessel jersey retirement, number 81 in the rafters forever. Shots end 30-24 in our favor. DeBrincat scores a couple goals and an assist. Draisaitl has 3 assists. Josh Morrissey trying to top the 64 points he scored last year with a goal and an assist to get 3rd star honors, and that is a great night in Pittsburgh to make it 6 wins in a row, and we do it for Phil. Speaking of jersey retirement, it's now time to retire Chris Letang's number 58, the number that I mixed up Kessel with. And we're going to do it at home, of course, against the Montreal Canadiens, his hometown team. We beat the Capitals 5-2 to keep the win streak going. I don't think we play the Canadiens at home again this season, so I know it's 2 retirements in 3 nights. The staff at PPG Paints Arena are going ballistic, but we're going to go ahead and make it happen. Hosting the Canadiens, we are 10-2-0. The Canadiens are very good. They are 8-3-0, and it's Chris Letang tonight, the most successful defenseman in Penguins history. 4 Stanley Cups and his number 58 right next to Kessel's number 81. First period, 1-0, and it's Nate Smith opening up the scoring. Very nice, 1-0 after 20. Second period, 3-1 Penguins after 40, just like last game against the Leafs. Draisaitl on the power play to make it 2-0. David Krejci, who's still in the NHL here, scores the lone goal for the Canadians. And Nord down on that fourth line, another late goal in the second period, just like last game. Nord extends our lead to 2. We're up 3-1. Make it 4-1, just like DeBrincat last game. It's DiMaio this game. 4-1 Penguins up by 3. There's DeBrincat, speaking of the devil, making it 5-1. Could we have a similar scoreline as last game? Hold on, there's Brendan Gallagher on Blomqvist, making it a 5-2 game. We kill off the Canadiens' power play, under 5 to go, being outshot, but up by 3. Let's get it done for Chris. Final minute, and there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Another victory. We get outshot 31-29, but we do it for Chris Letang. Draisaitl a goal and assist to get first star honors. Nord a goal, DeBrincat a goal and an assist, and we'll win that one 5-2 to make it how many in a row now? 9 in a row. So we're 11-2-0, riding a 9-game win streak, winning both games that were of the most importance, the Phil Kessel retirement night and the Chris Letang retirement night. Thank you for your service, gentlemen. It was an honor to have you play for this organization. So with those couple of slow sims done, let's now get into the month of December or so. Let's start simulating a good little bunch. I don't think we need to really stop. Usually around the 10-game point, I like to look at how the stats are looking, but we are cruising. Let's keep it up. 4-2 win to make it 10 in a row. 11 in a row as we beat the Sabres by a score of 3-2, facing the Leafs after beating them 5-1. Now we beat them 5-2. Keep that streak going. Now in Detroit against the Red Wings. Okay, down in the AHL, a little injury. All right, back at it. Let's see what happened here. 3-1 loss there. The win streak ends. All right, so we're 14-3-0, and we just won, what was it, 12 in a row? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Yes, a 12-game winning streak. I'm sure one of the longest in franchise history, as we are now 14-3-0, and we'll keep on simulating into December with our heads held high. The Coyotes are in town. We beat them 3-2 in overtime. Now facing the Blackhawks here. They were with Connor Bedard. They are 12-9-1 now. Okay, we beat them 6-2. Then the Blue Jackets, we beat them 4-3, getting another little streak going now. Let's get towards the games here against maybe the Canucks or against the Lightning and the Devils. We're just cruising right now, so no reason to stop. 17-3-0 through our first 20 games. Hronek being offered to us from the Canucks. No, thank you. 3-2 overtime win against the Flames. 18-3-0. DiMaio is healthy. Good. Don't want to see any of that. Back-to-back here on the road. 2-1. Ooh, sprained ankle. Zadorov out until Christmas. That's about 3 weeks away, I think. So that will bring Ian Mitchell into the lineup. But I'm not sure why it's saying I need to make roster moves. Are other players injured who they're not showing me? Zadorov is the only injury, so I'm not sure why it's telling me I have to call somebody up when I have people who are scratches. I have Ian Mitchell ready to go right here. Your roster must be compliant. What is it not compliant with? Oh, goalies. Oh, no. Hold on. What's up here? Ooh, Blackwood is injured. Oh, I hope it's nothing too serious. We're going to call up the legend, Philip Lindbergh, to come and replace here. He had great success when we called him up in the Sharks series. Let's say he does, getting his first NHL action here in Pittsburgh. But fingers crossed there's nothing serious for Mackenzie Blackwood, who I'm sure has incredible numbers right now. Let's get Zadorov replaced here. Ty Smith will slot up to the second pair with Erik Karlsson, and Owen Pickering will play third pair with Ian Mitchell. There we go. We'll swap left and right. And then goaltending, Blomqvist is going to get the starter's crease for the first time in his career, and he'll be backed up by Philip Lindbergh, a Data Hall of Fame candidate and certified bellow, 27 years of age, 7th round pick back in 2019. Yet to play any NHL games. He's been in the AHL system for quite a while now. Not really getting any growth, but he's finally going to get a chance here. Of course, depending on how long that injury is to Blackwood. Sergei Krevchenko, who has been added to the team, will be backing up Gauthier down in the AHL. Undrafted medium backup, 19 years of age. Not bad, but 53 overall. So there you go. Zadorov and Blackwood are both out now, unfortunately. Let's see the nature of those injuries. If we could stop simulating for a moment, please. A little back-to-back there against the Coyotes and the Stars. There was back-to-back shootout losses. 4 consecutive games going beyond regulation. Overtime win, shootout loss. So 18-3-2 is the record through the first 23 games. And looking at the injury report here, fingers crossed, pending evaluation. We don't even know yet. Oh my goodness. Concussion, I would think. Oh boy. Zadorov sprained ankle. He'll be back in, like I said, about 3 weeks or so. But Blackwood may be out for an extended period. We'll have to check back in on the injury report. I'm not sure why in the calendar they're able to tell you how long the injury is until, but when it comes to checking the injury report, then it's, I don't know, it's pending evaluation. We'll see. Okay, injury down in the AHL, whatever. Let's keep on going now. Come on, let's not let this stop us. Back-to-back overtime wins, back-to-back shootout losses. Let's get back into it now against the Blue Jackets, who are 14-7-3. We beat them very close margin there, 4-3 victory. And Carlson, no! Carlson with a concussion until March! Oh, come on! That's a devastator. Wow. Erik Karlsson, who we brought in here to be a points machine and replace the top 4 minutes left behind by Chris Letang, is now out until March. 15 points in 25 games. On pace for about 49 or 50 points with, of course, reduced ice time. 5 less minutes than usual. Still playing over 20 per night. On pace for about 50 points this year. And he is out for the next 3 months. Wow, this might necessitate some sort of trade here. That is brutal. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to put like Jake Neighbors here just for a second to hold the spot. But I think we may need to assess like the trade blocks here, because that is a long-term injury in a very important spot in the lineup. So Zucker can just hold that spot for a second. Of course, I say replace all lines, but it doesn't actually mean replace all lines, right? The strategy's messed up now, right? Doesn't know what to do. Okay, now I go to it and it's fine. Great. Wow, can I please stop the simulation, or is it going to give me a game of Zucker as defenseman? Can we stop? Okay, so 4-3 win against the Blackhawks and a 4-2 loss against the Capitals. 24-2 is our record through 26 games. I think I'll have to do some research around the NHL to see who could be a good option for us to fill in for Karlsson. But I suppose before that we can check out the point totals up until this point. Great numbers here. Draisaitl has scored 36 points through 26 games. DeBrincat 30 points from him. Certainly on pace to score more than the 76 he got last year. Crosby still above a point per game, 28 and 26 from the captain. Morrissey 24, Gensel 23, Isaac Lundstrom 17 points in 26 games, very impressive. Evgeny Malkin has 16, Karlsson had 15. Of course it played a game, so Zucker was a defenseman there as we lost against the Capitals. What a joke. Ekblad 13 points, scoring 1 every other game. Brian Rust has 1 goal and 12 points in 24 games. Okay. DiMaio 9 goals and 11 points in 26 games. Okay. Berkeley Catton, not enough for me there, not too impressed. With second line minutes, he has 10 points in 26 games. That'd be on pace for a 32-point season. He scored 44 points in his rookie year as a third liner. Now he's playing over 3 minutes more per night, and he has not been impressive there. I know he's like a pure playmaker, but Crosby and Malkin can definitely score, so I don't know there. Ty Smith, very impressive as well. He has 10 points and is a +5, as many as Berkeley Catton. Robinson, 8 points, good. Nord has 6 goals and is a +2. Pickering, 6 points and a +8, very nice. Smith, 4 points and a +4. Zadorov had 3 points and was a +9. Zucker, 1 goal and a -2 in 3 games. And Mitchell, a -2 through 3 games as well. Blackwood was 7-2-1 with a .900 save percentage, but look at Blomqvist. Oh my goodness! I looked at the numbers, but not the record. 13-1-1 with a shutout, .929 save percentage, and 2.04 goals against average. I don't know why the game is playing Lindbergh so much. 1-1-0. He had 2 starts. Good for him. He got his first NHL win. .877 save percentage, 3 goals against average. But when Blomqvist is looking this good and Blackwood is injured, we need to rely and lean on him. So I'm going to turn auto-rotate goalie back off, I think. Blomqvist is going to be our full-on starter. We still don't know how long Blackwood is out for. but we do know that we got to definitely get another top 4 defenseman who could then slot down to third pair in March, I suppose. But we need someone to hold down the fort until then. So I'll do my research, check out the trade blocks, and see what I can come up with. So I've done my research, and the only name that really makes sense to me is Ryan Graves. He's not a right-handed defenseman, but there are almost no defensemen in the entire league who are A, on the block, and B, top 4 quality. Not even getting into, does it make sense for the team to want to trade that player? What's that team's record? Is that player on an expiring deal? So Graves, I think, is a perfect combination of all of that. He's on the block, expiring deal. The Jets are sellers. They're 9-14-2 right now. I was thinking about Hronek over on the Canucks, and it would solve our long-term problem of needing a right-handed defenseman in the top 4, but it's just too much trade value. I could throw a prospect and a first into it, and they're not interested. So I just don't think that this would work right now. I explored it, but they're a winning team. I don't know why they really want to move him. Right now, it makes more sense to go after Ryan Graves, and we'll see. Maybe he stays long-term. Once again, we're correcting the timeline again. Another current Pittsburgh Penguin in the real world. He is a defensive defenseman, definitely not doing what Erik Karlsson does, only 2 assists, but only a -1 through 25 games on a bad team, logging a lot of minutes, 4-star defense. I like him a lot. It wouldn't be the first time that we acquire him if we do end up getting him. He's 6'5", brings a lot of size. Unfortunately, not a right-handed defenseman, but can't be too picky when we have all those constraints on us. So thankfully, we do have the cap space. We could go ahead and throw a prospect in the deal. They're interested in a lot of our prospects. I don't want to use a draft pick, definitely not our first. We already don't have our 2nd or our 7th in this draft. So I would think let's try to use prospects. I don't want to use any of the medium elites that we just drafted. And by the way, they're growing pretty well. They were both 48s. Now they're 54 and 50 respectively here. So I wouldn't want to use either of those guys. The players that I would use or be more open to using would probably be like these guys down here. Low elite. Sutter, what's this guy's name? Tristan Sutter, defensive defenseman, 3rd round pick in 2025. Guys who I could see having value to other teams, but for us, we just want to cut bait on right now. So 19 years old, 58 overall. I think this is enough to get it done here. I would be curious to see what they would say to this straight up, actually. The Jets get a prospect with low lead potential in exchange for an expiring contract. They're a bad team. Winnipeg, what do you say to this? Okay, trade accepted, straight up. No need to add anything else. Just a 1-for-1 deal. Ryan Graves, welcome to Pittsburgh. That's why we needed that extra cap space, and thank goodness we had it. That is going to be a huge help for our top 4. Very happy to have him in the lineup. I don't think there was an injury update on Blackwood, so we'll keep simulating a bit more, and I'll just get Graves into the lineup. Give me a moment. All right, so there we go. Ryan Graves in the lineup in the top 4. I'm going to keep him on the right side as the more experienced defenseman with that 6'5" size. Ty Smith's going to be getting a lot of ice time out here. He's been really surprising me. 10 points this season, a +5 through 26 games. He's going to play 2nd unit power play, and Ekblad will move up to 1st unit power play, while the 3rd pair on even strength is going to be Pickering and Mitchell. So Ryan Graves not only fills in the hole that Erik Karlsson leaves, but he also makes us a stronger team defensively. Our pounding kills should now be stronger, our 4-on-4 line should be stronger, and just in general, we should be more sound defensively. So we'll get back to the calendar simulation now, and we'll see how this team does with Graves in the lineup. I'm going to go just until the game against the Lightning. Blomqvist will start against the Blue Jackets and the Canucks. I just want to make sure that Lindbergh is in the right spot for that home and home, or that back-to-back. Plus, I want to know what the extent of Blackwood's injury is. 7-5 win against the Blue Jackets and a 5-0 shutout of the Canucks. Very nice. Looking at the injury report here, any new news? Yeah, so it's a concussion as well for Blackwood. He's out until January 10th. That's another, like 3 weeks or so from now? 11 plus 10. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly 3 weeks from now. Very good. Karlsson, meanwhile, of course, we know still March 9th, and Zadorov coming in just about 5 days. So Zadorov will probably bump Mitchell back out of the lineup, and then once Karlsson's back, we'll see who gets bumped from there. Who knows? Maybe we have another injury at that point. Still a very long ways away. I'll give Lindbergh the start here against the Lightning, and then Blomqvist will continue to be starter for the next whatever amount of time until we have another back-to-back. Just want to make sure that I have manual control over all of this. So at Amalie Arena, Lindbergh between the pipes, and we lose 4-1. Not good. But now Blomqvist will come back. Blomqvist has been crazy. 2 shutouts, 925 save percentage. This 3rd season has been his best by far so far. Also, speaking of the lines here, we are just looking at Berkeley Catton, how he's kind of struggling. Maybe DiMaio comes up, 10 goals in the year. Maybe he plays with Crosby and Malkin. It doesn't give the line a +5, though. If it's Catton, Crosby, DiMaio, it's a +5. DiMaio, Crosby, Malkin, +2. But let's try Catton as a playmaker with Lundstrom, who's been incredible. Rust, who, I don't know, only has 2 goals this year, but in the past has been more of a goal scorer. Let's try it. Worst case, we put it back, but we're doing so well right now that we don't need to really struggle over this decision. I think we're in a good enough spot where if it doesn't work, we go back to it and life continues as it's been. 22-5-2 is our record. We have a 4-3 win there against the Devils. You know, actually, Zadorov's back. Technically, I gave the harder assignment of those 2 games to Lindbergh, so apologies to you, Philip. Mitchell, 1 goal and a +1 through 8 games. All right, that's cool. Smith, anything new from you, buddy? 3 goals, 8 assists, +6 now. Okay. So Zadorov will come back, but the question is, does he play third pair with Pickering and it gets a 0, or second pair with Graves? Ooh, gives that last pair, I forgot about that, the +2. Ty Smith's been great, and he'll still get his increased ice time, especially through playing second unit power play, but Zadorov with Graves on the +1. I don't know, is it 2 defensive type of guys together? Is that not ideal? I don't know. Let's try it out. Always about trying it out. We'll keep on going like that. 6-4 win against the Devils. We win a couple against them over the course of a couple days. Injuries down in the AHL. Let's fix it up. Back to it now. Lovely. 6-2 win there against the Bruins. In Colorado against the Avalanche. We're 25-8-0. I'll see what happened in a moment. Another injury in the AHL. Back out. Stop the sim. 3-2 loss. All right. Too bad. Now it's in the AHL, NHL, NHL, AHL, AHL, NHL, and you're back. 4-1 win on the road against the Senators after that 3-2 loss in regulation. Blackwood should be back around this game here against the Red Wings, I believe. So let's keep going. We got games against the Kraken, Islanders, Canadiens, and Flyers between now and then. The Canadiens are a very good team. Lundstrom concussion! Out for the month. Oh my goodness. Smith's going to slot up, +2 on that third line, all right. And we're going to bring in Jason Zucker, and centering that fourth line, who has the best faceoffs, might be Zucker, 65, 65, 66, great. Noel Nord, congrats, you're centering this line for the next little bit. I cannot be bothered. You know what, this will be when DiMaio comes into playing power play minutes now. DiMaio's going to play at the point here. There you go, +5, has 11 goals on the season so far, great. Play on the second unit power play, my goodness. Now the calendar is again off, back up, stop, restart, okay. 4-2 win against the Kraken at home, hosting the Islanders. Divisional rivals who were below 500. We'll see what the score was in a moment. Blackwood is now back to full health. Okay, I thought it was just a playable injury, but no, Blackwood is back. Very good. Lindbergh would have to go through waivers, so I don't think he would get claimed. I'm going to go ahead and do it. You know what? Having a 53 in the AHL is not preferable. So I think I'm going to risk waivers. I don't think he gets claimed. So let's try it out. 75 overall. Does he make it through? Yes, he does. All right, very good. Let's fix it back up. Blackwood will be eased back into it. His numbers were good, but Blomqvist's numbers have been great. So we'll ease him back into it. I'm sure the game will have them rotate an even enough amount anyways. All right, back out, exit calendar, stop, and here we go. So back-to-back losses for could that be the first time since earlier on in the season? Back-to-back regulation losses as well. 5-2 against the Islanders, who were now 17, 18, and 3. I think they were 16 and 17. And a 4-3 loss against the Canadiens, who won 50 games last year, but are 16, 19, and 0. So back-to-back losses against teams who were below 500. Let's go check out the Wild in a couple weeks from now. Stanley Cup final rematch against the team that won the Western Conference last year and then represented the Western Conference in the Stanley Cup final. We beat them in 5 games. Petrell's back in the lineup. Okay, back out. 3 consecutive losses now after you add that one against the... Oh! What's with the injuries? Some years there was like nothing. And the Slider's at what, 12 on 100? So many injuries. Zadorov out again. This time only for a handful of days, but out again. Ty Smith will come back to the second pair, and Ian Mitchell will return to the third pair with Pickering. Ridiculous stuff. Back out again. Flyers 5-4 shootout loss. What is going on? 3-2 shootout win. Thankfully, we hadn't won in 4 games. Longest time all season. On the road against the Capitals now. They are a winning team. They beat us 5-2. Callan Lind, head coach replaced players. Oh my goodness. on the road. Zadorov fully healed. Great. It's the halfway point, by the way, so I think if we could stop, the game will probably go a couple more days. Even though you say stop, it keeps going. There you go. Whoa, what has been going on? Maybe Zadorov has to go back to the third pair or something whenever he's back to being healthy, because it has been a tough January here. We are 1-5-1 in our last 7 games. Tough. We just passed the halfway point. Yeah, 42 games played now. Let's check out the numbers. It's not exactly the halfway point. The halfway point plus 1. Leon Draisaitl, 25 goals and 54 points through 42 games so far, leading the way. Absolutely. Looking very, very good. Could be his best season in a few years. DeBrincat has 48 and 42. Crosby, 47. Great to see from the top guys. Gensel, 36. Malkin, 34. He picked it up. Morrissey, 30. Very nice, on pace for about 60 points. Lundstrom has slowed down, but I'm still happy to see 22 points in 35 games. Ekblad, 21 with a plus 17, about the same pace as last year. Berkeley Catton, 19 points. He has picked it up a little bit, but still not super impressed with what he's done. Ty Smith, 17 points and a plus 5. This could be a career year from him. DiMaio, 12 goals and 16 points for the rookie. Carlson, of course, at 15. Rust, 14, on pace for below 30. Wow. Smith, 12 points in 42. Robinson, 11. Pickering, 10 points and a plus 7. Nord, 8 goals. Zadorov, 6 points and a plus 11 through 32 games. Meanwhile, Graves, what has he been doing since he's come to Pittsburgh? He has 2 points and is a plus 2 through 16 games. Okay. His 1 goal this season was shorthanded. I think it came with us, I saw. Zucker, 2 goals and a -5 in 10 games. Mitchell, 1 goal, -2 in 10 games. Goalies now. Let's see. Blomqvist, 21, 7, and 2 with 2 shutouts. His numbers have been getting ripped apart, actually. His 920-something has come down to a 911. Goals against average at 2.6. I think it's time to get Blackwood back in the crease. Blomqvist held down the fort very well. His record is still good, but his recent numbers, we're going, 1-5-1 in our last 7? Not good enough. Also looking at the numbers around the NHL, we are currently sitting 3rd in the league, but we have 3 games in hand on the Bruins. The Avalanche are actually the top team in the NHL right now with 31 wins. Wow, scoring 4 goals per game. Our power play at 22.5 is the 3rd best, or tied for 3rd best in the league. Very good. And penalty kill, wow, at 87.4 is also tied for 3rd best in the NHL. So that's very good. Power play and penalty kill, both tied for 3rd best in the league. We definitely don't need to touch that. So let's keep on simulating. I'm not even going to simulate with a game in mind because players are coming back from injury in the NHL and the AHL. Got to stop simulating every 2 seconds. This is going to be an editing nightmare. But c'est la vie. All right, 3-0 shutout victory against the Panthers. All right, thank you very much. We'll take that. 6-2 win against the Wild. That's what we want to see after going 1-5-1 in our last 7. Back in the calendar now. I have a couple games coming up here against the Rangers and the Ducks back-to-back, hosting both of those. And Lundstrom, perfect timing, going to be back in the lineup against his old team, the team that drafted him, as he's back to full health and can take back his spot on the 3rd line. By the way, I just noticed this. Jason Zucker had scored 1 goal in 10 games. Now in his last 3 games, he's scored 3 goals and 2 assists, 5 points in 3 games after 1 in 10. So you know what? I'm going to keep Zucker in the lineup, I suppose. Nord, 8 goals and an assist. Robinson, he got some assists out there. He's pretty good as well. I don't know. I'd have a hard time pulling anybody out, but I'm going to take out Nord just for a little bit. Let's see if Zucker can keep up the experiment here, and Lundstrom will return to his spot. All right, another player back in the lineup before we simulate 2 more days and have to stop again. Back to the calendar, pause the sim, go back. Okay, so back-to-back 4-3 wins. We'll take that. 4 consecutive victories after the 1-5-1 little rough patch there, we'll just call it. Let's keep on going now another few games until everyone's back. Winnipeg, Jaeger's injured. Head coach replaced. I've never seen this many injuries with this slider so low. 12 on 100, I have it right now. 8-2 victory against the Jets to make it 5 in a row. In Detroit to win 4-1 to make it 6 in a row. At Madison Square Garden to make it 7 in a row with a 5-2 victory. 1 more game until the All-Star break. Let's end it. Well, let's get up until this point with 36 victories. 1 more at home against the Panthers, who are below 500, and there it is. We go into the All-Star break on an 8-game winning streak. Well done, gentlemen. 36-11-3 is our record, and that was quite the month. A lot of L's followed by a lot of dubs. Alrighty. 36-11-3 is our record as we get closer to the deadline. Is everyone fully healthy now aside from Carlson? That may be the case. I totally forgot who's injured and who's not after having to stop simulating so much and put people in, take people out. 5-1 win, 5-2 win, back to back, make it 10 in a row. My mouth's starting to go. Don't start playing with me now. I'm commentating. Don't try and get me like this. 5-3 loss, 5-4 win. Don't mess with my rhythm. The 10-game winning streak comes to an end. We bounce right back the next night with a victory against one of our rivals. Keep on rolling. Injuries, don't stop me. Don't stop me now. Keep on rolling. Give me win number 40 against the Hurricanes. 5-3 loss. Give it to me against the Avalanche. Jake Guentzel injured knee. They won't let me do it. I can't flow. I gotta flow. All right, so Guentzel's out. That means I'm going to bring Catton up to the top line, actually, because his playmaking ability will definitely complement Draisaitl and DeBrincat and maintain the +5. So that's what we're going to do there. Jason Zucker, you still scoring, big boy? 6 goals, 3 assists now. -3. Let's get Robinson. Yeah, it gives it a +2. So Robinson's going third line. Zucker's going left wing, and Nord's going right wing. I want to replace in all lines, but I think he's out long enough that I'm going to at least do the power play. So, second unit power play. I had taken DeMaio out to put Lundstrom back in. I suppose DeMaio can come back now. And now we'll be crossing our fingers until we get Guentzel and Karlsson back at both sometime in March. Yeah, okay. Okay, that's done. Oh my goodness. All right, so we shut out the Avalanche 4-0. Very nicely done. Get win number 40. They may be our biggest rivals in the entire NHL. So that is a huge victory right there. Let's keep on going as we get closer to the trade deadline. We'll go to the game against Seattle, which will be one day before the trade deadline. St. Louis, they're a great team. They beat us 5-2. Dallas Stars, we're hosting them. Zadorov, his third injury of the season. Zadorov out again until that mid-March range. Oh my goodness. I'm going to have a conniption fit. Smith back to the second pair. Mitchell to the third. There you go. Swap third. There you go. Okay. Serenity now. Erik Karlsson fully healed. How about that? Okay, let me continue for a second. I want to actually leave the calendar. One last game. All right, 3-0 win against the Stars. Great note to end it off on. 41, 14, and 3 through 58 games. So I guess Karlsson came back early. Am I not wrong? And Guentzel's back in a couple days. You know what? Let's get to the next game when Guentzel's fully healed so I don't need to pull my hair out twice. Then Zadorov will be back like 10 days after that. So let's keep on going until Guentzel is fully healed and we get them back, both Karlsson and Guentzel, into the lineup at once. So this game against the Kings, we're going to play without Karlsson. Rest up one more day, big boy. Hosting them. All right, Guentzel's back to full health. Very good. We host the Kings, and we win 10-5. Wow. Draisaitl at 79 points right now through 59 games. That is incredible. Very good. So Guentzel and Karlsson will now re-enter the lineup. And there we go. This may be our lineup to the end here, because even when Zadorov gets healthy, I like Smith and Pickering as that third pair with the +2. Now that Graves will be here in a fully healthy lineup, he bumps Zadorov off the second pair. And you know what? This guy's been so injury prone this year. His numbers are, +24, don't get me wrong. But I don't know if I want... He's been out for so many games that I'm not sure if bringing him back in would mess up what Smith and Pickering have going. And those are two younger guys who we want to see growth from. So let's go ahead and hop into this game at T-Mobile Arena to see the first fully healthy game that we've had in a while. Of course, still minus Zadorov, but with Karlsson and Guentzel both in the lineup. First period, 3-1, very nice. Draisaitl, Dorofeyev ties it up, then Malkin and Zucker get us back up by 2 in the last minute and a bit there. Shots 15-8 for Vegas. Second period, 5-1. DeBrincat on the power play, then Ekblad even strength. Shots are 22-20 for Vegas, but we are up 5-1. This is the third consecutive slow sim game. We're up 5-1 in the third, I believe, right? Because we haven't slow simmed since the Letang retirement, unless I'm missing something. Erik Karlsson, welcome back. He makes it 6-1. Josh Morrissey, the extra point is good. 7-1 Penguins. This Vegas team was about 500, but we just bulldozed them. After scoring 10 against Los Angeles, yes, we now score 7 against Vegas. 17 goals scored in our last 2 games. Wow. Morrissey a goal and 2 assists. Draisaitl a goal and 2 assists. Blackwood makes 29 saves, and we come away with another victory. That was number 43 on the season. We'll now face San Jose and then Seattle before the trade deadline, but I don't think we really have anything to do. This is a great offer from Calgary. I'm not sure about making a top 4 commitment, let alone right now where we just got Graves already. I like Sasha Aub, our prospect, a lot as well, but I think Uyghur is someone we can consider moving forward. San Jose there, 26-30-6 at the Shark Tank. We win 4-1. Zadorov now healthy to come back. That means somebody has to be sent down. Nord wouldn't have to go through waivers. I think that's why I'm going to have to send him down. I think Neighbors is the guy who I'd prefer to send down, but I don't want to risk waivers when we don't have to. Nord isn't playing right now, so I think it's okay to just send him down. If we need to call him back up, we call him back up. But Nord will just be sent down for the time being. And then we're back in the calendar and on this game against Seattle. They are 26-29-6. We picked up Kessel and Suter from them at the deadline last year, and they were big pieces on our cup run. Honestly, nothing to do here at the deadline. The big hole to plug was the top 4. Graves did that. I think everything else is going swimmingly well. We have 44 wins at the deadline. We're going to sim through it, and we'll see what other moves happen around the league. Can we see the results of the Kraken game? Yes, 3-2 overtime victory. Let's now sim through the deadline, and we'll see what the rest of the league does. On waivers here, we see Calvin DeHaan. What's up with Calvin DeHaan? Expiring deal. He is 78 overall, 35 years of age. No, I don't think so. Am I wrong to think that Calvin DeHaan was once listed as an offensive defenseman in NHL? Now he's a defensive defenseman? But no, I will pass on Calvin DeHaan. We have the depth. Zadorov now fully healthy, but we're going to keep rolling as we've been. Things are going very well here. I'm not sure what the winning streak is at now. 5. We have won our last 5 games in a row. 45 wins here at the deadline. Things are looking good. Let's see what the rest of the league did. Okay, so Florida got Mario Ferraro. Zubi ended up going to Boston. We were thinking about him and a few others, like we said at the start of this episode. But you know what? A lot of those suggestions just kind of went away. When 1, we already used some trade value to pick up Graves, and 2, again, listen, we scored 17 goals last couple games before the deadline. We've won 45 games. I'm not sure I really want to bring someone into the top 6 to kind of play with that chemistry. Anything else? Kasha going to Buffalo. Jonathan Drouin going to Chicago. Zetterlund going to Chicago. Olofsson to Boston. Leonard to Carolina. Miles Wood to Dallas. Yafalo to the Islanders. Owen Beck to the Capitals. Fervery to Montreal. Frédéric Goudreau to Buffalo. And there you go. Nothing too huge, I would say, but they're the moves around the league here at the deadline as we're into the final stretch now. Let's sim towards the last week of the season or so. I'd love to try and break what we did last season. I believe it was 53 wins. I forgot what the franchise record is. I'll check in a moment as we're in the middle of simming here. 5-4 shootout loss against the Hurricanes, followed by a 6-2 win in Florida the next night. Another back-to-back here. 8-5 victory against the Islanders and an 11-3 win against the Bruins. These high-scoring games, incredible. I can't wait to see the end of season scoring. The Canadiens are below 500. We beat them in Montreal 3-2 in the shootout. Maple Leafs in Toronto beat us 6-3. Then we beat the at home. We were hosting the Leafs and then the Capitals. 6-3 loss, 6-4 win. 4-1 loss against the Hurricanes, 5-4 overtime loss against the Sabres. In Winnipeg, that was win number 50, by the way, against the Capitals. 5-2 win against the Jets to make it 51. On the road against the Wild, we beat them 8-4. We haven't been in Minnesota since we beat them in the Stanley Cup final. Actually, they had won Game 4, but we beat them in Minnesota in Game 3. Ty Smith now has back spasms. Ooh, he's out for a little bit, eh? That may have ended his regular season. He's out until May 1st. He's had a great year. This has been a career season for Ty Smith. We'll check it out at the end of the regular season. But Zadorov will now come in to play third pair with Owen Pickering, and hopefully can pick up where he left off. It really is just the injuries that held him back this season, because he was a plus 24. He was looking good, but he was out of the lineup so much that he kind of just, we kind of just forgot about him, honestly. And I was tired of having to put him back in with his injury-prone nature. 5-3 loss, 3-1 loss. We get back into it with a 3-1 win against the Canucks. Now facing the Senators, we beat them 4-2. Into the final stretch here, the last 5 games of the season. So as of now, these 54 wins would be one more than last year's 53, thus making this now the Penguins' second most wins in franchise history. We are 2 wins away from tying and 3 wins away from beating the 56-win record set back in 1992-93. So let's do it. We need 3 out of the next 5 to go our way. Let's sim these next couple here at home. These are going to be 2 at home, 2 on the road, then 1 back at home. 2-0 loss against the Rangers, then a 3-1 win against the Lightning to tie the record on the road in Buffalo. The Sabres are 52-23-4. We beat them 6-2. That ties the record at 56. Let's head over to Madison Square Garden now to look for win number 57, which would be a new franchise record. Let's do it. After just winning the second President's Trophy in franchise history last season. We're looking for a third this year, and let's do it while making it the most winningest season ever. First period, 1-0, Evgeny Malkin on Igor Shesterkin. Malkin really had a great comeback this season. Second period, 3-0, Berkeley Cadden with a rare goal, and Draisaitl on the power play. 3-0 Penguins, and 20 minutes away from history, as the shots are 27-18 in our favor. Make that 4-0 now as Crosby scores on the power play, and Eric Robinson down the fourth line. Panarin stops the bleeding with the goal 34 seconds later, and then Panarin scores again a minute and 14 seconds after that. 5-2 Penguins. We're up by 3. Make it up by 4 once again. The fourth line contributes once more as Nate Smith makes it a 6-2 game. 35-25 are the shots in the final minute. And ladies and gentlemen, the winningest season in Pittsburgh Penguins history, 2026-27. Put it in your diaries. What a year, and still another game to go as we take down the Rangers 6-2 to win our 57th game. Wow, what a season, with only one generated prospect on our team, still with Crosby, still with Malkin. Great stuff, and we're looking for one more against the 43-33-5 Tampa Bay Lightning for win number 58. I would just prefer not to have 20 regulation losses. Let's try that. But I'd love to get a 58th win to close out the season, headed into the playoffs. First period, 0-0, shots 10-9 Lightning. Second period, 0-0 it remains. Shots now 19-17 in our favor. Third period now 20 minutes away, no scoring through the first 40. Power play Penguins killed off by the Lightning. We're into the final minutes now, and Brian Rust gives us the lead, breaking the deadlock. It's 1-0, but Kucherov ties it up at 1 just a couple minutes later. We're into the final 10 minutes of this third period. It's a tight one. Power play Lightning, and Kucherov scores his second to put the Lightning ahead. Blomqvist in for the season finale here. Final 2 minutes of this one. Late push! And that'll be all she wrote, as the power play goal from Kucherov is the game winner. Who took that penalty? Gensel hooking. Shots ended 31-something, I believe, in our favor. Kucherov scored twice. Vasilevsky made 30 saves. Blomqvist looked very good, making 24 of his own, but that power play goal was the finisher. But hey, I will take a 57-20-5 record any day. And of course, the season ends with a Crosby injury. Sore shoulder. Thankfully over only until April 28th. Head coach replaced for a moment. So now, did everyone play their 82nd game? Of course they did. So let's say the postseason starts on the 19th or the 20th. Let's say game 1, game 2, game 3, game 4. Crosby's probably out for the first 4 games, I would say, of the first round. That is brutal. So checking out the league totals now, we did indeed finish atop the NHL with 57 wins and 119 points, winning the President's Trophy in back-to-back seasons for the first time in franchise history, and just the third time in franchise history. 2 of those 3 times coming in the last couple seasons. Incredible stuff from this team. 57-20-5 was our record, the most wins in franchise history. The 726 point percentage is the most all-time for an 82 game or more season, but it is second all-time to the 750 winning percentage Penguins of 2012-13, the lockout shortened season when the Penguins went 36-12-0. But still, of a full season, I think we could say that this is probably the best Penguins regular season of all time, scoring 3.99 goals for per game and allowing 2.68. The Avalanche faltered a little bit in the end, and we leapfrogged them for top spot in the league. Our power play ended at 22.7%, which was number 1 in the NHL, and our penalty kill dropped a little to 85.9, but still good enough for 4th best in the league. Going to the points now. I'm excited to see what Draisaitl did. It's 112 points. On top of that, DeBrincat scores 100. Incredible. Leon Draisaitl, 56 goals and 56 assists, 112 points. His best simulation season actually was 22-23, a sim season. I guess technically it was, right? Even though we leapfrogged it. But his best season in a few years, and the most goals of his career. Yes, yes. 56 goals, the new career high for Draisaitl. 112 points, a plus 37. 32 power play points, shooting at 18.6%, all while playing 21.50 per night. Leon Draisaitl, take a bow, buddy. What a season from him. But Alex DeBrincat, whose previous career high was 75 or actually, well, 78 in the real world. In the sim, his career high was 71. He comes out here and scores 100 points. New career high in assists and points. 100 points, plus 37, shooting at 15.3%. 28 power play points, 2018 of ice time per night. A career year from the Cat. Take a bow, you as well, my friend. Sidney Crosby turns back the clock, plays a full 82-game season, of course gets injured the last game, but he scores 93 points. The best season that we've seen from him in this simulation. Scored 69 in year number 3, 83 in year number 2, 74 in year number 1, and then now 93 in this 4th season. Plus 16, 26 power play points, 15.9 shooting percentage, a little more ice time than last season, which was nice, but he has still got it. From Sid the Kid to Sid and the Kids, he's been a great leader, and he did it on the score sheet this season. 93. Talk about leadership, though. Evgeny Malkin, 40 years of age, and he scores 81 points. We were ready to take a step back from Gino, maybe bottom 6, go into the sunset type of thing after scoring 59 points last season, but he roars back to score the most points that he's had since 2018 as he gets 81, a plus 19, shooting at 12.2%. 12 power play points, logging a lowest ice time that he's had possibly in his entire career, only 16:47, so that's where the age comes in. Wow. Continuing on, we see Josh Morrissey, new career high for him, 65 points. He had 64 last year. This was his second full season with the Penguins, and he has been incredible for us. The number 1 D on this team, and he's showing why. Josh Morrissey, well done. Jake Gensel, 64 in 79. Not bad. Better than last season and better than the season before that as well. Definitely less of a goal-scoring year when you have DeBrincat and Draisaitl on your line, but I'm still happy to see 64 points from Jake. Very good. Isaac Lundstrom was a huge surprise this year as he scored 51 points, by far a new career high. The man that we got off waivers a couple years ago now has scored 51 points. He only played 72 games as well. Give him 10 more games and he was on pace for a 58-point season. Lundstrom, who was a monster way back in the day in the Anaheim Ducks series on NHL 20, now doing it again for GM data once more. Plus 17 on the year, shot 14%, 12 power play points, and 15.08 of ice time per night. Another one who has to take a bow, my goodness. Aaron Ekblad, 50-point season from him in his second full season as a Penguin. Highest point total that he's put up in a few years in the simulation. Yeah, very good to see that. A plus 44 as well. Berkeley Catton ended up improving on his rookie season totals. He was on pace for like 32, 33. He ends up with 14 goals and 46 points. Very happy to see that he turned it around in the second half. Brian Russ ended with 41 points, continuing to go down a little bit, but still serviceable, especially as a third-line winger. Ty Smith scored 35 points. What? A career high previously of 23, and he used to be getting a lot of ice time. In our first year, he was playing big minutes, 20-27, then down to 16.5, 14.5, now back to 16.5. He got some power play time as well, and he registers 35 points. Really, really happy to see that from Ty Smith. Someone who's kind of stagnated, but this has been a career year from the young defenseman. Very impressed by him. Well done, Ty Smith. Erik Karlsson ends with 30 points in 48 games, now down to an 83 overall. He came back from his injury very well as he ended on pace to score about 51 points. So well done from Karlsson. Hopefully he can continue that in the postseason. DiMaio, 21 goals and 28 points for his rookie season. We'll take that. Still has an 80 overall. I'm sure he's going to get some growth from those 21 goals. Robinson was a great surprise. I'm very happy I just decided to sign him in free agency when we were looking at fourth line options. 22 points from him, averaging under 8 minutes per night. Well done. Nate Smith ends with 20 points. Now his third year as fourth line center sets a new career high. He was a +8. Very, very good. Nate Smith, well done. Ryan Graves ends the season with 19 points. What did he do with us? 17 points and a +25 in 56 games. Incredible. Very well done. I'm very happy that we made that decision to pick him up. Very well done. Wow. Zadorov ends with 17 points and a +32 through 55 games. I think he has to start in the postseason. It's really too bad that we're missing Ty Smith, but I'm happy to have Zadorov playing there heading into the postseason. Pickering in his rookie season ends with 16 points and a +10 rating through a full 82-game campaign. Zucker ended up scoring 15 points in 50 games. It was a +1. Ian Mitchell in relief there, 1 goal, -1 through 11 games. I'm very curious to see the goaltending this season. In the end, end, Blomqvist appeared in 49 games, going 33, 11, and 3 with 3 shutouts, 916 save percentage, 2.51 goals against. Blackwood, who suffered his injuries, ended up going 24, 7, and 2 with 2 shutouts, a 904 save percentage, and 2.67 goals against average. So that is a huge question headed into next episode. Who is our starter? I'll ask again towards the end of the episode, but that will be a major question for us. Let's see where those point totals put us in the entire NHL. Draisaitl leads the league! Let's go! Leon Draisaitl wins the Art Ross Trophy. Does he win the Maurice Richard? Yes, he does! That's our first Rocket in a very long time in all of our franchise mode series. Usually it's Matthews scoring above 60, but he only had 51 this past year. Leon Draisaitl wins the Art Ross and the Rocket, getting out of McDavid's shadow and moving to Pittsburgh, and we see why. What a season from him. Looking at the rest of the league, McKinnon, Rantanen, Pastrnak, DeBrincat, 5th in league scoring. Very well done. Quinn Hughes, 98 points. If we just want to look at defensemen in the NHL, we see Quinn Hughes, Cale Makar after a huge gap from Hughes, and then there's everybody else. Tiny Stolarz Jr. down there with 61. We'll look at the created players in just a moment. We see Morrissey's name as well. And all goalies in the NHL. Casey DeSmith had 43 wins as a 77 overall. Of course he did. Let's look at minimum 40 games played. Sorting by save percentage. Blomqvist, he probably made his case for the Vezina. I doubt he wins it. I don't know. With 33 wins, it's possible. Blomqvist may have had a Vezina campaign here. I don't know. When you just compare it to the rest of the goalies in the league, Kochetkov looked very good as well. But yeah, could be a Vezina campaign here for Blomqvist, perhaps. So the winningest season in franchise history, an MVP caliber year from Draisaitl, our 2 oldest veterans continuing to turn back the clock, 100 points from DeBrincat, possibly a Vezina campaign from Blomqvist, who came in relief to Blackwood's injury. What a regular season it was, but now it's time to see who our opponent will be in round number 1 of our road back to the Cup. We will be facing the Ottawa Senators. Interesting. Just get a quick look at who's on their team and what their overalls look like. We see Brady Tkachuk, Tim Stützle, Rickard Rakell, former Penguin. I think that was part of the DeBrincat deal, correct? Obi Kubel, Norris, Greg, Boucher, Formenton. Defense, we see Shabbat, Sanderson, John Klingberg, Tyson Barrie. Goaltending is former Penguin Aiden Hill. Yes, yes, yes. All right. Interesting. We'll keep note of that headed into the postseason, facing the Senators in round number 1 of what will be our march back to the Cup. In the West, we see the Oilers made it back, but the Wild did not. Maybe a collision course there in the making, possibly with the Avalanche as well. Some strong teams in the West. Even in the East, though, Buffalo had over 50 wins. A lot of good teams that we could be bumping into on our journey. For those of you who want a quick update on the created players who we had headed into this franchise mode who were in the 2025 draft class, created by the top finishers in the Data 782 Fantasy Hockey League, Charlie Ray Jamson of the Detroit Red Wings, the first overall pick. He's up to an 83 overall with Detroit. I don't believe they made it to the postseason. He had 44 points in his sophomore year. Tiny Stolarz Jr., we saw him among the highest scorers of defensemen. 74 points last year, 61 this year. He is an 82 overall. Sean Avery over in the Anaheim Ducks. He was the 6th overall pick, the last one taken, and he had a 76-point season, 48 goals on the Ducks. He has had an incredible little growth spurt here compared to the other ones especially. And Milan Mihalik Jr., who was drafted 5th overall by the Jets, he's an 85 and just had his 2nd consecutive 53-point season. If we look over at the goaltenders to see my created player, as I finished top 5, I deserved one. Miles Edward O'Brien, starting goaltender of the Blue Jackets, 84 overall, and he got starter minutes this season and went 36, 21, and 4 with 5 shutouts. All right. Well done to the savior of Starfleet. So that just about does it, ladies and gentlemen. If you want more information on the draft class or contracts or things like that, feel free to leave a comment or hit me up in the Discord server, but I'll end it off there after a big season, and it was a successful one. 57, 20, and 5 are your Pittsburgh Penguins. Back-to-back President's Trophy, the 3rd in franchise history, most wins ever, and led by the likely MVP, Leon Draisaitl. Let me know what you thought about this season down here in the comments or over on the Discord server. What were some of your biggest surprises and or letdowns? I would say one of my biggest surprises is Ty Smith. And even though he improved from last year, I gotta say one of my bigger letdowns is likely Berkeley Catton. But let me know, what did you think? I just realized something. Did the game not tell me that Lundstrom is injured? Like, did I miss that or something? What? Like, Ty Smith, we know he's back May 1st. Crosby, they said April, 28th or something. But Lundstrom, I don't remember seeing anything about Lundstrom. Hold on now. So that changes how things are going to have to look for our lines, because we'll have a tough decision to make when Ty Smith is back, but I'm sure we can make that depending on how the postseason is going. Another huge question is, what are we going to do about our starting goaltender? Who starts and who backs up? But now, if Crosby is out, that means, and Lundstrom is also out, I guess Malkin could go center. Anyone else who can play center? DeMaio could play center. Yeah, DeMaio can play maybe third line center. Well, that means Zucker's going to be in the lineup, and we got to call someone up from the AHL. Yeah, if we have two forwards out, someone's got to get called up. So let me know who you think. Who should get called up here? I think Stan Koven is leading the team in scoring. Yeah, he's doing very well. According to overall, it would probably be Svikovsky. He's been a long-serving Penguin, so I'd love to call him up. Maybe Stranges, Ishikov, Petrov, a few options there. But yeah, we'll have to call somebody up. So let me know who's getting called up and who's our starting goaltender, as we have both Crosby and Lundstrom, our middle six centermen, out for an unknown amount of time. Crosby at least until probably game 3 or 4 of round number 1. Lundstrom until we have no idea when. So looking forward to reading those thoughts as well as your suggestions down here in the comments or over on the Discord server, link in the description. Leave a like for this winningest season ever, and of course subscribe if you haven't already for uploads of our continued Penguins series here on NHL 23, our Pirates series on MLB The Show 23, career simulations, and much more, especially with the real world NHL season coming up, NHL 24 coming out soon. You won't want to miss out on any of those updates and my thoughts about them. I will finally leave you there. My goodness, Crosby and Lundstrom both out. That's a lot of points out of the lineup as well. That's why the assistant GM's got to let me know who's playing in those spots, who's getting called up, what are we going to do. At the end of the day, we know that this is still an incredible squad and one that can march its way back to another Stanley Cup final. One last cup for Malkin and Crosby, who they're hungry for more. Let's get one for Erik Karlsson. I'm looking forward to seeing what this team can do, and I hope you are as well. So thank you once again for watching, and I look forward to seeing you again in the next one.